All right, Shalom Yasha Allah. Peace, Israel. First and foremost, I would like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Kadash. Double honors to my apostles and elders of the great millstone who rule well and has taught us this truth. And also peace and salutation to the hopeful elect out here laboring in truth and sincerity in four corners of the earth, understanding and independent of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Kadash. This is a brother Karab here from the GMS Boston camp. And just want to touch on a quick lesson. Adam Ratazar, which means Lord's willing, this lesson is edifying. All right, and the lesson I'm going to go into is you have recently this video of Jill Scott, singing a redesigned national anthem, right? And you know, it's literally exposing the wickedness of America, right? And as we say according to the scriptures that America is spiritual Sodom in Egypt, and it's reference to Egypt because of the bondage, right? The hardcore slavery that the children of Israel had to live out. All right, we're actually going through that again here in this country, right? And in this time period. All right. So it's Sodom for all the lewdness that is taking place here. It's the same activities that took place in Sodom, but also Egypt, because they have the children of Israel in captivity, both northern and southern kingdom. All right, and by her singing this new redesigned national anthem, once again, it's just proof that this place is the place of our captivity. All right, even to this very day, you still have Jakes that what is it uproars and protesting, or they trying to get reparations for the 40 acres and the mule, or they trying to get, you had in California, they was trying to pass a bill saying that they get reparations for I think 1.3 million. Don't quote me on that, but I know it was a lot of money. All right, and they're asking for what was done to our people, and they want to get paid back, which we understand through the spirit power Yahweh Shemel Shai that reparation is going to come through Yahweh Shai, right? And He's going to restore us even into our own lands. All right, but once again, this is how you identify. All right, that this place is the place of our captivity, that we have to serve out bondage until the Lord comes and destroy this place. All right, and once again, this is all proof of it, right? So this is Jill Scott. It says the new national anthem, and I'm gonna read it. And this video goes back to 2 months, but there's another video that recently came out of her singing as well. So I don't know if that's the same video that went back 2 months, or if that's a new video that just came out recently. But I pulled this one up just so I can get the lyrics on the screen. And it says, "Oh, say, can you see by the blood in the streets? This place doesn't smile on you, colored child." I wish the color, by default, you should already know that the colored child is speaking on you Israelite children, right? You Israelites, right? It says, "Whose blood built this land with sweat in their hands." All right. It says, "But we'll die in this place and your memory erased." All right. It also says, "Oh, say that this truth hold any weight. This is not the land of the free, but the home of the slaves." All right. And that's plain and simple. All right, and that is straight and direct, and it's exactly what it is. Our people, for 400 years, build up this place, even to this very day. Even though we're not in hardcore bondage, America is still flourishing because of our people. All right, it's still being maintained to the highest peak because of our people. All right. You have our people working for these companies, these corporations. You have our people doing the dirty work. We have our people bringing forth style, setting trends. All right. Where other nations is looking at us and they want to patronize and do exactly what we're doing. All right. But our people gets no reward for their labor. All right. Some of the hardest working people are Israelites, and not even majority of the hardest working people are Israelites. All right. And guess what? Our people get no acknowledgement for it. They don't get no seat at the table because Esau, Edom, and these other nations, they shut our people out. All right. And that is once again, due to the fact that the Lord had brought upon us the curses for the disobedience, and He said that this was going to take place. All right. So what I want to do is I'm gonna bring out a few precepts, and since I mentioned spiritual Sodom in Egypt, I'm gonna start there. All right. This is Revelations 11 and verse 8, and it says, "And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of that great city," which that great city is representing America, right? So the dead bodies, it's not talking about physical dead bodies. All right, it's spiritually dead. Our people are spiritually dead. All right, our people don't know that they're Israelites. Well, now we're coming back to knowing that we're Israelites, but at a point, it was beaten out of us. Jeremiah 17:4 said that thou shalt discontinue from thine heritage, right? And they started calling us black, and they started treating us like shit. And then next thing you know, they start planting these seeds in our people's head, and they start taking on to different philosophies and different customs that are not that's not the way, right? So it says, "And their dead bodies shall lie in the streets of that great city, which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified." Right? And they of the people and kindreds and the tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half, and suffer and not suffer their bodies to be put in their bodies to be put in graves. All right. So when you look at it, going back to the law, all right, and even in other cultures, it was an honorable thing to bury the dead, right? It was an honorable thing to bury the dead. You read the book of Tobit, all right. Um, Tobit, I believe, he went around and he buried the dead of his kinsmen, of his brethren. That was when I believe the I believe it was Assyria or yeah, Syria or Nineveh, Salakia. Don't quote me on that. I'm gonna have to go back over that as well. But when they was killing Israelites, he went and he did an honorable thing, which was to bury those bodies, and so much that it was a penalty for him. They was looking for him, right? So once again, it's an honorable thing, but these nations didn't want to do that honorable thing by restoring us, right? By giving us rest. All right. It says, "And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them and make merry, and shall send gifts one to another, because these two prophets tormented them that dwell on the earth." And the two prophets represents the northern and southern kingdom. All right. "And after 3 days and a half, the Spirit of the Most High, the Spirit of life from Yahweh Bashim Shah, entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them." All right. And this is what's happening now. Our people are standing on our feet, all right, by coming back into the knowledge, coming back into the understanding of knowing who you are, all right, and putting on that way, right? And even those that are outside that don't call themselves Israelites, what they're doing, they're speaking against the atrocities, they're speaking against the wickedness, the things that took place, and they're holding Esau Edom accountable. All right, they're putting the mirror to his face and telling him, "Hey, listen, you are this, and you're this individual that did this to us." All right, and we want compensation. We want some type of help. All right, we want something that's gonna be justified into building us back up. This is what these people are speaking of. But once again, they lack knowledge, wisdom, understanding, because the Bible talks about how we're gonna receive that reparation. All right, let's get Deuteronomy 28. Deuteronomy 28 and verse 68, and it reads, "And the Lord Yahweh Bashim Shah shall bring thee into Egypt again by way of ships." All right, and that is speaking of the transatlantic slave trade. All right, one of the most prominent things that happened in history, right? Where Esau Edom, as well with tied in hand with the Hamites, had conspired to sell the Israelite man, woman, and child into captivity. All right, because Egypt just represents bondage, all right, and our people have been sold into captivity, all right, even going back into the 14th century, but also 1619. You know, this is Salakia, all right, Salakia. So yeah, going back to the 14th century, the 13th and 14th century, but also the 16th century, all right, and that's when you know the Southern Kingdom was brought over here, all right, and Esau basically that's how America got to be what it is, all right. You see, so it's an important time in history because what it's biblical prophecy, right? And it says, "And the Lord Yahweh Bashim shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more." What are we not going to see anymore? The land of Israel. All right, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwoman. All right, and that took place by, you know, you could pull up the videos of the Israelite man and woman and child being sold on auction blocks. You have right here in Faneuil Hall, down in Massachusetts, Boston, Massachusetts. There was also what was this? A slave auctioning block, right? Or a place, an area where they sold slaves. All right, and even the banks that are high up today, that are high esteem, their line goes all the way back to trading slaves, man, and owning slaves. You had George Washington; he owned slaves. You know, you have these politicians and their families going back to slave masters and slave owners. All right. So you see, this is why it's important. This is why it's important. People, especially these Christians, they kind of like they don't want to hear. They don't want us to speak this truth, or they don't want to hear the truth. But guess what? This is very important because we understand that this was going to happen to a set of people, and who are these people? You have to identify who these people are because we understand that with this happening to these set of people, these people that it happened to, also known as the chosen of the Most High, right? Because it's written in Deuteronomy, it says if you keep these things in 28 and 1 through Deuteronomy 1, it says, if you keep these commandments, laws, and statutes, and you do these things which are right in the eyes of the Lord and observe them, that we was going to be blessed. But in verse 15 said, if you don't keep these things, then you're going to be cursed above all. All right. And look at our people. Look at our condition. Look at where our people live. Even when Jake makes it in society, you know, they still catching hell. These celebrities are still slaves. They still binded or tied in because of a contract, and they have to do what Esau Edom tells them, or their lives is gonna be fucking hell. All right, and that's with them having all the money. How much more the average 9 to 5er? All right, that's just an employee getting crumbs from the master's table. You see, and it says, and no man shall buy you. So, and it says, no man shall buy you. All right, why no man's gonna redeem you? There's not gonna be no Black Panther Party. It's not gonna be no Bloods and Crips. It's not gonna be no any type of group that's gonna just come combine and come together to kind of just shake this curse from being off of us and destroying our enemies. No, it's gonna be done by way of one man, and that's Yahweh Shai. Yahweh's gonna send his only begotten son Yahweh Shai, and he's gonna allow this. He's gonna take care of this situation for us. All right. Let me get something real quick. Let's get Baruch 2:30. It says, "For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people. But in the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves." All right. And it's very important, right? Because you got to remember, in all the other captivities, we knew it was Israelites, right? We knew it was Israelites. But this one captivity that we're in, that took place, All right. Eventually, after the crucifixion of our Lord, and even and moving towards this time period, you know, or the 16th century, I should say, you know, that eventually was beaten out of us to the point where, you know, our people to this day don't acknowledge who they are. I mean, yes, you have the Israelites waking up, but outside of them, you have our people that struggle with accepting who they are. Why? Because they lost their way. They lost the language. You know, we lost our culture. We lost our heritage. All right, we lost all of these things, man. All right, but it says, but in the land of their captivity, they shall remember themselves. So we understand that in the captivity, in the land of our captivity, that we was gonna come back into remembrance of something, something very important. All right, something that Esau Edom didn't want us to know. All right, and that's us coming back into knowing who we are, man. All right, being the Lord's chosen people, Israelites, the 12 tribes of Israel. All right, and it says, and shall know that I am the Lord, their power. It says that I am the Lord, their power, for I will give them a heart and the ears to hear. Right. Also says, and they shall praise me in the land of their captivity and think upon my name. All right, and return from their stiff necks and from their wicked deeds, for they shall remember the way of their fathers which sinned before me, before the Lord. All right, and that's exactly what it is. All right. That's exactly what it is. So now we're starting to come back into remembrance, and by also us coming back into remembrance, our enemies is being exposed. All right, and this is why you have videos like this. I'm gonna read it again. It says, New National Anthem says, "Oh, say can you see by the blood in the streets?" All right. It says, this place doesn't smile on you, colored child whose blood built this land and with sweat in their hands, will die in this place and your memory erased. O say, does this truth hold any weight? This is not the land of the free, but home of the slaves. All right. And I'm gonna end it off there. I pray and hope that this lesson was edifying. I'm gonna give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushua, Bahashim, Kadash. That one of my apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule and have started this truth, and also peace and salutation to the overflow. Shalom.